Hey guys, this is Ty Campbell, and thought I'd make a quick little video just kind of showing our objective boxes, what we've been using for a while, and just to kind of give people a feel of the ins and outs of the objective box. First off, we're going to start with this box here. This was actually our first objective box that we built to test the whole idea, to test the whole concept. And so it's going to look a little different than what we show online, but I just kind of want to just give you the ins and outs of how our boxes are built, and just to make sure you got your whole mind wrapped around the idea. Anyway, what you see here is you got the device. We cut a hole here so that you access the device. But you might be able to see here in the video, there's plexiglass here, and what that does is that helps protect the screen. There's a small little hole that is drilled right here, and what we do is we put this this piece of plexiglass in place to protect the screen, but we use that for when we do games where there's a lot more close quarter combat, like small arenas and a lot of buildings and stuff like that. Out in the woods, we've been running them without the screen and haven't had a problem. And to be honest with you, this one just got this plexiglass screen put on it, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to get down there and touch it? But that's where we use a stylus, and we just loop that onto the exterior of the box, just like that, and then you just grab the stylus and you reach down in there and you push it. So it's kind of like a detonator pin, and it arms it, and it keeps basically everybody out. There is a latch out here, and the latch, you keep that latched closed, and you just put a lock on the outside of the box here, and your iPod, iPhone, whatever you put inside here is secure. I mean, you could add some additional protection, and you could rivet this piece of plexiglass in place, and I tell you what, no one's going to get down into it. So I know there's been some talk on some forums about concern about stealing the iPhone or iPod that's inside there. It's fairly secure. I don't think anybody's going to get down into it. They could probably steal the whole box if they really wanted to, but it's going to make a noise, so you're going to at least be able to figure out where it's at. But I don't really think that's an issue, and especially with the group of guys that we play with, it's all about playing with honest players. But if you're doing an event, obviously you don't know who is there. But this is a really secure way to tie everything all in together. Let's go inside here, set this lock off to the side, and open her up. What we used is some corrugated plastic just for our base, and this is just a 4th gen iPod Touch, and we actually don't use any iPhones with the boxes that we have. This guy over here, this is a 5th gen iPod Touch, and they just work great. You don't need network connectivity to be able to connect to like a network, like it's a web-based deal. No, it's a separate, it's a standalone application. So it runs on its own. You don't need data service or cell service. But anyway, this is just connected with, it's kind of loose because it's Velcro, so we can pull it off if we wanted to use it for other things. You see a couple switches up here. This is just our way of simplifying things. We didn't want to have to open the panel up and access the stuff all the time to charge the battery, to turn on the speakers and all that. So we added a couple switches, and we added a little charging port right here where we can go ahead and just plug in the AC/DC wall adapter. So we got 2 switches. One of them turns on and off the speakers, which would be this one here. Which powers the amp, is how it turns on and off the speakers. So when you flip this on, it kicks on the PA speakers out here, and then that is off. This one here, we actually wired in, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the panel back open. It sits real nice and snug. and you're like, whoa, look at all the wires, but it's not that complicated, to be honest with you. We wired in an automotive DC accessory plug, and we picked this up at a parts store, and that's just your regular USB charging plug. You can pick those up almost anywhere, convenience stores, whatever. And then we just run the cable up through the outside panel here, just make sure everyone can see that. So that way our device stays charged while we're using it. The battery we use, this thing's a horse. I mean, it'll go a long time before it really needs to be recharged. We've played full days with the Objective Box, running max volume, so it's going to pull the most draw out of this battery, and never had any issues with this sealed lead acid battery. And it's a 7.4 amp hour battery. No, excuse me, 7.2 amp hour battery. And yeah, it's been fine. No problems at all. We've played in sub-zero temperatures. Again, no issues at all. The only thing we've ever really ran into an issue was on real hot days. It was kind of zapping the battery power out of these, so all we did is just run this this plug down here. And if you're not into wiring, this really isn't as difficult as it looks. Basically, you got a positive and negative coming off of here, leads down to the battery, and we just have a switch as part of that circuitry so we can shut it on and off. And that's the exact same thing that we did when you wired down here to the amp, just an on-off switch. And then this plug here is for the charging, and same thing, it's just positive, negative, go straight down to the positive, negative terminals on the battery. And that's it. And as you can see, we just got regular stuffed foam because this was the first design. These speakers are a little bit different. They're metal speakers. This is just an old car amp that I had, small enough that it fit inside this box, and we just built everything else around it. Obviously, we don't use a car amp because it's bigger, heavier, more expensive. This does have a lot more wattage, so these speakers are a little bit louder on the field. So if we use multiple objectives, we always put this one in the middle because it kind of extends the sound that we need to send out there for players to hear. And it works really great. We should probably foam this with the expanding foam. We just honestly haven't got around to doing so, and it's just worked fine this way. So this just kind of shows you don't have to build it the way we show you to build it. It's just an example of the flexibility of the Objective Box concept. All you need is the app and some way to amplify it. I mean, your arena, if you run an arena or small area of trees that you play with a smaller group, you might not even need to use PA speakers and an amplifier. You might be able to just get away with those portable speakers that plug into phones and iPods and whatnot. So, but anyway, yeah, that's just kind of what's underneath the hood here. And this just pops down in place. You could glue this down if you wanted to. It's not really necessary because once you have the lid closed, it's no big deal. One thing I just thought of is back to the plexiglass out here. Let's see if we'll just slide this out of the way here. What you have is just double face tape and the plexiglass stuck on there, and works perfect. Like I said, you could rivet it in place to make it a little bit more secure if you wanted to, and that would basically totally secure this. Now, if you didn't want to use the stylus but still wanted the protection, you could leave this piece in place. Don't drill a hole in it. One, that would leave it more waterproof and would keep dirt and debris from getting down inside here. And if you're just running timed missions or just using the capture mission, you'd be just fine with just the plexiglass completely sealed up, and you wouldn't even need to be in this. But if you're using the button feature and you're going to want to play this mission, let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. that's when you're going to have to decide, how am I going to access this? How much of the screen do I want to expose? And let me tell you, we haven't had this plexiglass this whole time we've been trying this out, testing the concept, and we've used it for months. I mean, this box has been through a lot. I mean, it's not the cleanest. It's been wiped off a few times, but it's been in through the mud. It's been rained on. Last weekend it got snowed on. I mean, there was like a quarter-inch of snow just sitting on the outside of the box and down on the screen, but you still touch the screen and it worked fine because we didn't even have this plexiglass in place. And yeah, no issues at all. Obviously, we do have this in a tough case. This is a waterproof case. We have those on the website, all different brands. I mean, that's kind of why we went with the iPod, iPhone method, because there's all these accessory pieces. You can get these charging cables, and you can get hundreds of different options of how you want to do it. And there's countless number of cases, and if let's say this, we don't hope it happens, but it's a possibility. What happens if a stray BB cracks your screen? Well, you can get a screen replacement and go into the mall, and no big deal. Actually, this one here, we bought this one used. I think it was right around 50 bucks. I can't remember if we bought this online or local off of just a for sale site, but you can't even tell. There's like this little hairline crack. Actually, it's right there. And it works fine. I mean, this was so inexpensive, but yet it holds so much power to be able to process, play the sound effects, and I got it on mute because I didn't want it to just blare and loud. But it just works really well, and it fits all in there. And this is the thing, guys. You don't have to build this. You could build a mock missile or IED or whatever you want. I mean, this is just the design that we came up that's really simple, compact. You can carry it around. You can do whatever the heck you want with this. It plays all three mission modes just fine, so it's flexible. Yeah, I mean, if you had something big and cumbersome that you use for like an MCOM station for something that you just disarm, that works awesome. But if you wanted to use that to play the capture mission, you probably want something smaller, a little bit more lightweight. And this thing isn't so lightweight that people are going to be just whipping it around. It just works really well. And again, this was our first design, and it worked awesome.